Hello and welcome to this web blog, and tonight I'm going to be showing you how to add a watermark to your images. So let's jump in. I've already opened up an image and here we go, an image that I took at the studio a few weeks back. And what we're going to do is show you how to protect this image with a watermark. Now there's a lot of people that disagree with watermarking your image. I'm going to run through a couple of different ways that you can do it. It's up to you which one you prefer. I'm going to start off by coming over here and taking a text layer. The color of the text is currently set to white, and I'm going to click on my image and type in so there's my text, there's my information. Drop it to the lower left hand corner. I like the left, some people like the right corner. That's it. What I would say though is the white against the black is quite strong. It's a bit too strong, so I'm going to select that layer and reduce the opacity down to around 30%, 31%. If I was using a mainly white image, I would set the color of my text to black, and I would use it that way, and do the same thing again. If I felt that the black was too strong on the white, I would drop it down to possibly around the 31% again. Obviously that watermark can be cropped off, it's right at the bottom. I'm going to show you a couple of ways of getting around that. Obvious one is to drag the watermark up onto your image, right in the middle, but it kind of ruins your image. It's right across the image. So what I'm going to show you now is another one. This is step 2, or stage 2. Taking it back up to 100% opacity, I'm going to select my text and change the color to a mid-grey. And I'm going to change the red value to 128. I'm going to change the green value to 128 and the blue value to 128. It's a little bit small, my text, so I'm going to take it up a bit so you can see the effect. Here we go. And now comes the kind of neat part, if you like. Taking that layer, and I'm going to come down to the FX panel, click on that and choose Bevel and Emboss. And straight away it's given you a bevel on your text. If I take off the preview, you'll see that if you watch the text. Flat, beveled. That's fine by me. You can see the angle here. You can move it around if you want to change the angle of your bevel. There we go. Leave it there about 30%, something like that. Oh. Can always change it. There we go. And I'll bring it in a wee bit. This is a wee bit harsher. There we go. So that's my bevel. I will OK that. Still quite harsh, still right across the image. So what I'm going to do is change the overlay mode here, the blend mode I should say, to overlay. And there we go. The text now has become almost embossed on the image itself. Excuse me. You can see the color, for example, here on her arm through the text. You can see the color of her hair through the text. So it does make almost like the text has been embossed on that image itself. It's a good watermark because you can still see the image behind it, but you can also read the text. So that's number 2. Number 3, I'm going to choose the text again. I'm going to change it to solid black. I'm going to change the overlay mode or the blend mode back to normal, and I'm going to take off the bevel and emboss. So we're back to a black text. Now I'm going to open up a new layer and select the rectangular marquee tool, and I'm going to draw a thin slice across my image. I'm going to take that rectangle and I'm going to fill it now, so I'm going to go to Edit and Fill, and I'm going to use white. Okay, that, and it fills it in white. Now, a neat step that I like is to use the filter, noise, and add noise. And I quite often use somewhere between 100 and 150%, maybe a bit lower. And I always use monochromatic, because if you leave that unchecked you get all these nasty colours, and I don't like that at all. So I'm going to use the monochromatic. I'm going to OK that, and I'm going to lower the opacity on that now, down to around 35%. I'm going to take my text layer and I'm going to move it above it, so that my text now is in front of that and doesn't become grayed itself. And I'm going to select both those layers so that I can move them up and down. There we go. And if I deselect, that's the next watermark, is that band across your image with your text in the middle of it. It's a very robust watermark because, to remove this, you're essentially having to crop it out. And if you do that, you're losing a huge chunk of the information, huge chunk of the image itself. And it's almost impossible to remove this without cropping it. You can still see the image through the watermark, but it does degrade your image by quite a chunk. So not always an option. What I will now suggest, though, is the fourth method. That was number 3. I'm going to show you the fourth method, which is the one that I use. And I believe it's probably the most robust, in that you can protect your images, but you don't have any loss of the image like this, where you're losing the image. It doesn't look very good. A lot of photographers don't like destroying their images before they put them online. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete this layer, and I'm OK. So I've still got my text. I'm going to select my text, and I'm going to drop the size down to 30 points, change it back to the white layer that I showed you at the start, and I'm going to move that down to the bottom left, and I'm going to drop the opacity down to 28, around the 30 marks where I like it. So there we go. Happy with that, but that can easily be cropped off. So what I'm going to show you is the next step, and what I will do is I go layer and flatten, because the filter that I'm going to apply, it only does it to one layer, and I want both of these, the text layer and the image, to be in one layer. The filter that embeds the watermark also uses 8 bits, and I know at the moment this is a 16-bit image. So I'm going to go to Image, Mode, and change it to 8 bits. And then this is where the filter comes in. You go Filter, and Digimark, and I'm going to embed a watermark. Now, Digimark has been a filter that's been included with Photoshop for quite a while now. I believe that Photoshop Elements has it, Photoshop CC has it, because that's what I'm using. I know that CS6 has it, I'm sure that CS5 has it, probably 4 and 3 as well. If not, you can download it from the Digimark website as a filter, and I'm sure it'll work. Anyhow, in the filter menu, this is what comes up, and here is my Digimark ID, and that relates to me. It means that if that ID number comes up in an image, it knows that that's me, knows what my website is, knows my contact details. So I'm going to embed this here. It's restricted use, it's saying do not copy, and I've left off adult content because it's not an adult picture. I normally set the watermark durability using the slider to 2 or 3. There's 2, 1, and up to 4. I'll go for 3. As it says here, at number 1 it's less visible, but it's also less durable, and at number 4 it's more visible, but more durable. And what that means is when it embeds the watermark, if you zoom in to maybe 100, 150%, you might see a slight color variation on your image. That's the watermark. If you don't want that, you're going to have to go for like a lower number. So I'm going to go for 3. I know that works quite well for me. I'm going to OK that, and it will embed the watermark directly into the image, which means that if it's cropped out, or for example my watermark at the bottom, if that's cropped off, the digital watermark is still embedded. And if someone crops it several times, the watermark's still there. So there we go, that's it now finished. And it's showing me here that the watermark strength is somewhere between medium and high, nearer high, so I'm happy with that. Click OK, and that's it done. So now when I save this, the watermark will be part of the image. And as I say, if someone crops off the grey and web photography part, the watermark's still there. And I can track that using Digimark. Digimark is a paid for service. You can have different levels of membership. And at the first level you can embed, but you can't track. The next level up you can embed, but you can also track your images. So it will show me if someone's using this image somewhere on the internet, it will flag up, and if I haven't given them use of this image, I can alert them and say you've got no right to use this image, and take the appropriate action. It doesn't matter whether my name's cropped off or not, the watermark is embedded digitally, and I do this with all my images for use on the internet, because it works really well, doesn't destroy the image, and you can track it. So that's the 4 different methods of watermarking your images online. When it comes to saving, I personally would save it at a JPEG with the long side of the image at 600 pixels with a resolution of 72 dpi, which makes it quite a small image, probably unusable for printing or use elsewhere on the internet. And even then, as I say, my Digimark watermark is embedded, so if it was to ever be used without my consent, then I can prove that it's mine, and I can also track it. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this web blog, and thanks for watching.